asking each other actually earlier on, is it first pick Ashe? And yes, the answer is yes. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so now, I mean, they have the world is their oyster, as one would say. Varus and Kalista are both perfectly fine. Picking Kalista into Ashe, I mean, many would question just because Ashe typically does so well into Kalista, thanks to the slow and how that affects Kalista's passive. But BLG's confident. We know Elk, a very proficient Kalista player, and they're gonna... they have it now.
Oner, you gonna do it?
Are they gonna do it?
Oh my god, using their own strategy against them.
Absolutely love that. And as you said, Vedi, I think on-hit Kalista in particular has really struggled, but lethality Kalista into Ashe, I think really changes the powers. Guma. He was the guy that picked this in his first series. I remember way back.
God, okay.
And he is pulling it out here again, and bot lane. In game number 1, there was a lot of action. The game had a lot of action, and we are setting up for that yet again, as both teams say. I can beat you in a fight. I can beat you. I got you.
I think Draven is like a very powerful champion that does well into most matchups. I mean, we've seen it from a number of players. Jackie Love, Hans Summer, many of the Draven enjoyers use it as a way to win out on some of these more dominant bot lanes. But I can't say that I was expecting it. 4 AD carries, you know?
Yeah.
Any AD carry that argues your role isn't OP, I'm just saying, the evidence is right in front of you.
Hey, Fedi, we haven't seen Thane yet. Calm down.
Oh, there it is. And Knight has won on 4 champions. He's played 8. This is one of them. His Neeko has looked very, very strong so far this tournament. And this also means that maybe, do we need to be a little bit careful about where the Varus is going, you know? Like, Neeko Kalista's a great lane. I remember when Varus was a mid laner. He was a top laner at one point this year.
Of course. How can you not identify this might be Kalista top? Varus,
God,
Neeko, bot lane.
Guys, do you think
not often
Silas could make a comeback for Faker here?
Oh my god.
That's an angle.
I'm just thinking about mid lane champions that maybe make sense. And
I love that.
When you pair it up with Sejuani into Neeko Varus, decent ults to be able to steal. I mean, I'm throwing it out there as a possibility.
I think we're getting Corki, but I would love that way
That's
more.
true, it could be Corki, you're right. Because I kind of expected another mid-ban to come through. With the Twisted Fate gone, you're looking at a Ksante right now for Elk. Of course, there's always the possibility of Zeus bringing out both the Camille and the Vayne. But a jungle likely going to be the follow-up ban. Maybe a Xin, maybe a Lee Sin, maybe a Jarvan. All very viable options here for T1 to ban away.
I would really like the Xin Zhao ban. I love the permafrost activation of a Silas, but hasn't been something that Faker has played all that much, as Vayne is going to be taken away from Bin.
BLG to the...
Camille's open this time around. So I imagine that they want BLG to pick the Ksante here. We saw them use already this combo of the Sejuani and Camille. That pick, I feel like, is a no-brainer. The real question is, what does Faker pick to go with it? The Corki
I can't get Silas out of my head now.
The Corki and the ASO are the most obvious ones. That's in line with what has been meta. But Faker, even in the last game, struggled on the Tristana. We'll see what he wants to play here. But already so much dive, and Camille, Ashe, and Sejuani is a really strong free-core combo.
Yeah, I mean, like, Corki is kind of what you'd expect. AKali can be fine, but I don't love it into Neeko. All right.
Yeah.
Oh?
The AKali.
Okay.
And it's going to be locked in, okay. Finally, we do have double permafrost for both of the solo lanes, something that I know we tunnel on.
I think the beauty, I wanted something that could dive with the Camille. That's why I was thinking about Silas, because I just think it's a little bit safer in lane, but the mobility makes sense against double AD carry. Also, I don't think you're that scared of Ksante on an AKali. Neeko in lane can be quite annoying, but if she ever misses her skill shots, there's great opportunity for you to dive. But now there's all this backline access on the side of T1 that can just make their dive threat very serious and difficult to deal with.
That said, you are playing a very short-range composition into Wukong Neeko. That double combo knockup is so insanely tough to deal with. 3-6, the Wukong obviously not going to have the impact that we normally see Shun have, but these fights, again, are going to be so explosive, because if T1 catches anyone that isn't Bin, they're going to die in seconds. But it goes the same way, so again, I expect to see both teams fight extremely aggressively early to get leads inside. I think the 1-3-1, the 1-4 for T1, though, that is going to be hard to answer.
The thing that I absolutely love about this from BLG, though, is they're playing with double decoys, right? So now you've got Shape Splitter from the Neeko, and you've got the Warrior Trickster from the Wukong. So you're trying to throw arrows? Like, There's 7 things you can potentially hit, and 2 of them do absolutely nothing.
Hookshot as well.
Yeah. It's really tough because there's a lot of single target pick, and that's what I was going to praise the T1 composition for, right? Because when you have a Draven, you want to get cash-ins. It's the most important thing for getting those big leads and snowballing forward. But when it's this difficult to be able to get this single target CC down, especially when the reaction is there with the Warrior Trickster and things like that, it's absolutely huge. So we'll just have to see whether T1 can play around it, find their angles, especially with their bottom lane combination stolen away from them. Felt like they were the only team when they were in the LCK that was allowed to play Varus and Kalista alongside one another. But if there's ever a duo in the bottom lane that I would trust to be able to pilot it pretty well, it's probably Elkanon, let's be honest.
I just want another brawl, boys. I
think we'll get it.
I'm excited. The last time we saw Faker bring out the AKali, was it in this series? I feel like it was the game 4 into the Tristana where he just got bullied underneath his tower.
Yep.
But I'm trying to remember that composition. I just didn't like it as much as compared to what we have this time around, just because there's so much more dive on the side of T1. In any case, early control is the name of the game.
It felt like last time they didn't have as much damage as... Oh, speaking of damage, the snare even hits Faker. Big flash there from Keria, but On, he's making his way in. The flash over from out. The first blood comes in, nothing Gumayusi can do about it, and BLG will walk away with first blood.
Absolute disaster there. Keria face checks even with flash and barrier. You're not going to get out. Guma trying to cancel the backs. Can he get it?
Oh, he might be able to do so. There it is. He's going to be able to answer it as now On trying to get a bit of damage down, but that is a very early and pretty unnecessary cash in. But still, he's going to get it.
He got 48 gold, okay?
Yeah.
That is basically an extra pot, and he's going to get one. Longsword picked up as well for him, so not all disaster for T1. As the summoners now pretty much non-existent in the bot side of the map. BLG, though, committing to a swap.
BLG going to swap here, so Zeus, I think as soon as he spots that, they've mostly been using the Camille as a tool to apply map pressure. We'll know now, hasn't leveled anything yet. See if he's able to stay within XP range, but gonna be very, very tough. Do know, though, without summoners, we'll see. Maybe there's a possibility here for Oner to base some early attention has been.
Yeah, Keria just shooting him as he does press his ghost button. Gumayusi gonna make his way over, and of course, been understanding that he is not on the strong side of the map. It's Faker getting Jun's going to be able to grab that one. Warrior Trickster will get him over to the other side. As Keria, but it's not your side of the map.
It's an important reminder that you might stumble in your journey, and Keria face checks level 1, dies.
He got a kill for his AD carry.
And guess what?
It's genius.
It was not genius, Atlus.
It was
he face checked a brush level 1 against double Halo Blades, but
are you doubting the 2-time world champion Baron?
He continues his pressure.
3-time world finalist, 2-time world champion.
Okay. Did he prep you beforehand? What is this? I'm getting flanked by barrel enjoyers?
Doesn't matter.
Emily's there too, don't worry. All right, Faker will take a fair bit of damage there from the Blooming Burst, as T1 in this lane swap have already managed to collect themselves a couple of plates. Of course, the virtue of being able to get the bottom side of the map in the swap. First one does go over to BLG. They do look for a bit of a reset to see where they're going to head on the map next.
Thanks to Keria's effort, Bin is behind in experience, so Zeus will have a little bit of an easier time when he gets back in this lane. He TP's in though.
Oh, don't know about this one. 3-man strong underneath the turret here as BLG just lining up their shot. As they're running out of minions, but another wave is going to conga line in, just waiting for Shun to make his way over. And Zeus, this is feeling very precarious. Does hit the level 3. Now the tactical sweep comes in as he's not quite finding it. There's a hook shot, and he manages to get on top of On. It doesn't matter, though. He just gets out of turret range, and that is going to be the kill. And now Knight has already flashed away from Oner. Permafrost is going to be there, though, as now Knight has run out of cooldowns. Shun, can he make his way in to try and answer this? Shape Splitter comes through, and Oner says, nope. I'm going to be able to grab that one, so it's a 1-for-1 on either sides of the map.
Crucially there's 4 members available for BLG, so they have a really, really nice number of people to juggle the aggro. That was a heavy investment towards top though, and with T1 finding back a kill in mid, and then getting this many plays towards the bot side of the map, I think they're still going to be happy with the trade.
I mean, we look at the overall gold, and it's a small advantage in favor of T1, but I think the biggest thing out of all of this is the fact that T1 is able to find that kill in mids, because it's going to alleviate all this pressure that's being put down onto Faker. And there's no one that can really assist Knight, because as you rightly said, 4 members are being committed on the top side. It's a trade of flashes too. Oner loses his, but Knight losing his, especially against an AKali, can be crucial once that level 6 comes through. So T1 setting up Faker for success for the later levels, as while Zeus also died, look, still a level up, still ahead in gold. He's not that upset.
Snowball effect from Keria, getting that early pressure onto Bin, and Bin then sharing XP towards that top side of the map, as now we will have our earners 2v2 here towards the bot side of the map.
Yep, you can see both of these AD carries with their serrated dirks in hand, but 2 of them have been completed on the side of BLG. This combination is deadly, and T1 knows exactly what it's capable of. Faker unable to backflip quite fast enough. Won't be able to get that last caster minion in this mid lane. 400 gold, nothing to really scoff at here in the early game. But the thing that's really giving me hope for T1 here in game 2 is the fact that the aggressive matchup is in favor of Zeus. And we know what he can do on this Camille. It feels like if he gets that advantage, it doesn't matter what's happening on the rest of the map.
We already talked about the volatility that also goes for the bot lane of Elk and On. They are, if the Camille ever gets on top of them, basically gonna get 2-tapped. BLG though still have mid lane prio. Faker hasn't actually backed yet. Did make it to 6, as we pointed out, thanks to that early gank, but still not going to be able to contest this early on. We'll now have kill threat going forward, and we'll see if he's able to leverage that together with Oner.
Now Bin collecting himself a 3rd Q, doesn't land it here onto Zeus, who looks to put on a little bit more pressure. And we'll just try and hug his turret and keep himself alive against the very aggressive and happy Camille in that lane. Faker does teleport his way back, as the arrow is going to go wide here. Volatility of this bottom lane, pretty scary. I'm glad that we're spending a fair bit of time looking, because it could just all be over in a blink of an eye.
Shouldn't be kept track of thanks to the hawk shot from Keria. The grub's going to be started. I was curious as to whether we would see a base from Gumayusi and Keria, but they're just going to allow Oner to take that alone. I think crucially, Faker having control over the mid wave makes it harder for Knight to be able to collapse and really contest that. Gumayusi isolated in the bot lane for now. Keeping eyes on Keria, what he's up to on the map. You've always got to be cautious of these supports. Both of them love to have presence as we get closer to the 10-minute mark. But right now it seems that the bot lane is the priority. So the game slows down. A small goal advantage for T1. An even trade in terms of objectives. I think the biggest difference is, look at how confident Faker is playing. The flashless Neeko, along with the Merc treads secured, gives this AKali so much control and really nice trades from Faker as well.
Still gets the cannon as well. Beautifully played. Zeus and Bin going toe-to-toe in the middle of the lane for now. Zeus will head back, but does find himself a hookshot. Nice. Really nice buffer there on the W to make sure that Bin is not going to get CC'd. And also avoids having to worry about the physical shield. Actually, really good trading here from Bin on his Ksante.
We always feel a little bit threatened when we see a Camille, you know, level 6 is available, but Bin has his available now as well. We do have Oner towards the top side of the map. One of the things you have to be careful of is if you do Hextech ultimating the Ksante, not to be towards the edges, because if you get pulled out, it's really easy for Bin to get out of any difficult situation. Now, level 6s are hit. That means particularly for that 2v2 in mid, Shun and Knight are so insanely strong now if they can get on top of anyone of T1. That combo is really going to have to be respected. For T1, it's mostly about the single target damage. We talked about it earlier. In the last time when they had the composition, it didn't really feel like they had the same amount of setup this time around, and the dive buddies in particular, I think, are a really big difference maker.
Bin not quite finding it here as the all-out does come down. Doesn't get him underneath the turret, though, as now Zeus playing defensively, not finding that Q, though, on Bin's side. And he is going to give up on the chase, just trying to put some fear into this young top laner from T1. As now Faker dashing around, some shape splitters, making us feel like there are more members of BLG in this mid lane than there actually are. And Faker is not going to get fooled by it. As 5-point strike taking out these minions very nicely, as now Gumayusi presses that W running forward. That is a lot of damage. Whirling Death comes down, and now Keria trying to keep him in his place. Doesn't have his arrow, and there's the flash away. Now Gumayusi might be in trouble, but no. They give up on any further chase, and Elk having that level 6. absolutely massive for making sure that Gumayusi couldn't just free hit.
The mid laners would love to get involved as well, but Faker keeping the pressure up. He's Oner.
Glacial Prison comes in and the arrow was just picked up. Great flash from Oner is step aside, and it's a double and a cash in for Gumayusi's Draven. Now Shun trying to get him here. Could it be a triple though as he's trying to catch the axe? And it's a triple for Guma.
And it's the last pixels of that axe that get on. It looks like he's escaping. It looks like BLG has the opportunity to turn the play, but instead it ends in disaster, and T1 all of a sudden up 3k gold.
I mean, how did T1 do it with those blinking HP bars so many times? Keep your eyes on Keria.
Level 5,
Level 5,
last
level
minion.
6. The chain CC. But that doesn't actually get the kill. It's Guma that flashes in, gets it with his E. The cash in comes through. Shun turns his attention onto the back line, gets that first kill. I didn't even realize that Guma then get the kill onto Varus as well. Turns his attention to try and help his jungler out. Nice flash just in time.
Man.
As Gumayusi spaces perfectly. Triple kill for Draven. Koma seems pretty happy with that one.
In his second game ever, when he debuted in the LCK Regional Finals, Guma pulled out his Draven, right? There was a lot of talk about this guy coming in. This time around, it's a couple years later, but still we're seeing why T1 is prioritizing it, why they are trusting him on this pick.
Arrow's coming out here is now Oner looking for more. Welling Death comes in and it's the volley! That's the last hit onto this Kalista, and Keria, I think it's personal. I think it's like, you're stealing my picks, I don't like it, and we're gonna kill you over and over again.
This is exactly what we're talking about. The moment you start falling behind as either of these bot lanes, it's basically unplayable.
1.3k gold from kills for Guma.
Oh my goodness.
And now BLG attack back.
Well, let's see whether he can make it happen. Pop Blossom comes down. Arrow is barely going to miss. There is Knight taking axe after axe, but it is the kill, the revenge for Elk, as the piercing arrow is going to get rid of the Draven.
850 gold for Elk. A bit of a cash out of his own.
Yeah.
They are still 4k gold behind, but the dragon will be secured as T1 have to turn their attention towards the mid lane tower. I say that Oner still hovers around him. He's not going to take the risk. He will back away.
Got some opportunistic play there.
Look at the gold.
That's post shutdown.
Yeah, this is ludicrous. And now it is a Cloud Soul. This is a T1 special, my personal favorite. You love to see it, but also what Cloud Soul does is it means more people are going to be fighting each other because you can get to the battle a whole lot quicker. You may argue about Hex Gates, but at least this way you can just always run real fast. I love that.
I'm glad that you're here to defend the Cloud Soul. I've been trying to do so in your absence as well. But Vedi actually pointed out to me, and we got to talk about this, very apt for Draven, hubris purchased here.
Yes.
For Gumayusi. So if you don't know what it does, which makes sense because it's barely ever picked, it's basically a snowball AD item. Every time you kill a champion, the AD that you get after you hit a shutdown keeps increasing.
It really feels thematically fantastic for a Draven as well. The arrow is not going to connect there.
6 grubs as well for Oner.
Very nicely done. Able to secure that one. Shun really wanted to get just a little bit of a piece of it. Not going to be able to quite get there as now Gumayusi being, just thrown around the map like an artillery turret, looking to try and get a few more of these plates. Is now Elk moving on over, but On not going to be able to defend this by himself as the first plate does go down as far as this push is concerned.
The one thing, though, that T1 needs to be careful of, that we've seen before, is that yes, Guma is insanely fed, but look at the backline access tools that are there for BLG. If Knight, Shun, or Bin ever gets on top of him, particularly Bin, it doesn't really matter that Guma is this fed, he needs the rest of his team to keep him safe.
You know, the last time we saw the AKali, like, I do think that when T1 had things like the Zac, they did have dive buddies as well, things are going together. But the problem was the amount of control that he actually had over the mid-wave, right? He was just getting relentlessly pushed in, and even though he found a couple kills, it was very hard for Faker to really find an impact in this game. But this time around, he's controlled Knight well, he's had impact, but now Bin.
Yeah, it is going to be ult number 2, perfect execution coming on down there, but still going to have to invest both of the ultimates. We'll have to wait for that one for the next fight.
I could have won that one, to be honest, but you know what, he's going to play it safe.
I think respecting Bin is a decent default.
Wise move.
Yeah, that's not a bad move.
One of the values of experience is knowing when not to fight. And T1, they're going to take their time for now. They have the gold lead, they have the kill lead. And They have their eyes set on the Herald. Now alive, Keria waiting for his AD carry to return to lane.
And now, gentlemen, is it going to be a difficulty with the fact that we can see Gumayusi going for the lethality variety of this Draven? Bin might get to that problematic stage. Is it going to be okay, Cronicler?
So there's a Camille, and that to me is the big difference maker. Obviously, you'd rather have Camille go for the backline, but the added true damage makes such a big difference in getting through this Ksante, particularly in extended fights.
Let's see how it goes as the arrow is once again going to be sidestepped, utilizing the walk beautifully there.
In the river. It was just trying to get a crab.
Did it hit the decoy?
I'm pretty sure it hit reel him, because it took a while for him to get his crab.
It would have been nice if we just panned down and it's like, this is what Wukong can do. But he didn't have to, of course. Knight now underneath this turret. Does have a cannon that he probably wants to pick up here, as now Faker comes on over. Gets a little bit of damage down, and look at these grubs. Dot going to be doing some work here. Knight cleans up those ones. Hawkshot finding out exactly where Shun is.
So return to a passive stage of play. Objective's not going to be spawning for a little while. Herald available for Oner. He can just drop this mid if he wants to.
Yeah, as Oner's just going to get ulted. There is the Whirling Death, and my god, the damage! Not going to be quite enough to lock down the killers. There's the all-out from Bin, and Zeus not wanting to fight this one just yet, as you can see, just trying to get away from these Qs. Landing in some pot shots. There's the ulti, and gets the hook shot for the stun as well. Is it just going to be the solo kill? Faker turns up just to cheerlead his top laner.
A solo kill for Zeus over Bin. A beautiful outplay, utilizing the ultimate to sidestep the knockup into the stun, into the execution. T1 are on form here in game 2.
Zeus even looking for more there as the hookshot not quite in range for Knight. Shape Splitter, of course, very valuable into the Camille, which is something that we kind of learned from the support role, which is weird.
Yeah, I can't believe that was the matchup where we really saw that in action many a time.
Well, there's the hookshot, not going to be quite enough there as Knight gets half health by a Camille and some very sharp legs.
He only has Triforce. He doesn't have Hydra yet. I mean, Triforce is expensive, but that alone is not enough. As you already highlighted, Vedi, the amount of damage that you can kind of outsmart with Camille, particularly with the ultimate, is so tough to deal with. Because the CC would have been enough. Obviously, Faker would have turned to play, probably. But look how low Zeus is. Might have been enough to get the kill.
Absolutely. Beautifully played. You can see now posturing around this dragon that has spawned. 2 already in the back pocket of BLG, wanting to get to that soul point if they can. And Knight will get himself over. Was disguised as Shun for a moment there. As you can see, yep, it is just Zeus trying to take down this top inner turret. So soul point should go over to BLG here unless Faker does something absolutely crazy. Not going to happen though. Smite is of course available. That flash was a weird one there from Elk, but should still be okay as Whirling Death coming on down. Bin trying to find the angle, and there is Zeus just to defend. Oner will turn up as well. They know how dangerous this Ksante can be as Knight flashes and finds the air. BLG can't get their engage to work at all. And now T1 looking for a bit of a re-engage opportunity. Shun just going to put the pretend version of himself in front, and they'll make their way out.
A whole lot happens, but the key things is that outside of the summoners, it is the top lane turret being traded for soul point for the Cloud Soul.
They got the mid tier 2 as well. I mean, T1, they played it smart because they realized that it was a hard angle to actually force their way into the river. So instead, they leveraged the fact that they do have strong individuals. They don't take the gamble, and they just push in mid and push in top. They secure the 2 towers, and in that window, BLG thought that they could force a fight, but they don't end up finding any of it. So we see here, the tower ends up going down, the TP flank, the flash ulti from El. He can't be punished, though, because Guma's forced to retreat. Tries to run towards Zeus. A nice flash from him, along with the heal. Uses the mobility to get away to safety. And this is the last-ditch effort. But a nice knockback.
That stand aside. I am sorry, Knight.
Yeah, I mean, Gumayusi is able to just walk away in time. Zeus loses his slash as well. Faker tests the waters, maybe for a re-engage, but T1, they walk away with 2 towers. Look at the gold lead now. 7,000 the lead for T1.
Coming in, we talked about T1, particularly with the style of 1-3-1 comps. If your side laners start getting ahead, you just generate so much pressure on the map. So I like that BLG looked for a collapse there, trying to get a possible overextension punished, as that is a minion. But T1 not going to get fooled.
Sidestep there from Gumayusi is decent as the arrow is going to connect onto a shape-splitted Neeko. She's able to make her way out. That's a good ultimate this time around from Elk, but into the backline goes Zeus. The immediate switch of targets, and there is the Glacial Prison for the disengage. T1 will back away. There is so much testing and back and forth between these two teams.
Yeah, so the topic of fake pressure is one that's often talked about, primarily in lane, like you hover, or in side lanes that someone is behind you. In situations like that, both teams are just kind of trying to burn summoner spells for the upcoming objective, right? Baron in about 25 seconds. Maybe if they can get a flash out now, they can set that up for another play later. But the nerves of steel that, in particular, BLG have, because T1 is always testing them, always walking up, trying to hit them with CC, dashing in, threatening all kinds of possibilities. And Elk just stands his ground. He doesn't have flash, but he doesn't cleanse at any point. And they almost turn the fight in their favor. Incredible patience from both sides. That's not really much results in the fight.
Absolutely amazingly done. And we talk about non-committal CC all the time, and I feel like that is being put on display here, as every time Keria has an arrow available, except for right now, which is of course how it works, as maybe he'll use it here, as Elk is going to get permafrosted. There is the Whirling Death to come in, but Shun, he comes down. There's the arrow, but there's not really... Oh, never mind! Fate's Call is going to bait Zeus, though, and once again, it's just this do-si-do, everyone having the answer.
This time around, there is a prize being paid, though. No cleanse for Elk. He is very low, and the Fate's Call is used. We'll see if T1 want to use this to try and pressure more.
But then he planned to build Edge of Night, so he puts that together, which is kind of a cleanse. It's the very first thing.
I will say, though, that the pressure is starting to mount for BLG. Like, you can only handle it for so long as Zeus continues to push these side lanes and then collapse into mid. You're seeing it again on your screens. Faker pushes top Zeus, and they do this. They move into your jungle, and they start to look for picks, and it's just a suffocating effect. Earlier, it was a 7k gold lead, and look at how it slowly begins to build. It's not that much significantly different, but you can feel the pressure starting to mount for BLG as they are being suffocated out more and more from the map.
You gotta imagine T1 at some point is gonna keep fishing, and then go for that Baron. They need to get the objective to actually crack open the base, and in about 45 seconds, thank you for pointing it out, Vedi, the Drake is going to spawn. That's going to be Soul Point. I don't think you want to give over Soul Point to picks like the Ksante and the Wukong, most notably, but realistically, with the gold lead T1 have, BLG shouldn't be able to step up, but you see T1 still respecting.
Educators, Max, you are a connoisseur of the Cloud Soul. Tell the world why this is such a terrifying dragon to fear.
Movement speed is the best stat in the game by a considerable margin. So, I mean, it's just, there's
Walking
not really much
is
to say. Yeah, and the walk is something we've been trying to sell this entire tournament. It's the best way to avoid CC. You don't need to press cleanse if you just right-click in a direction that isn't where the skill shot is.
Piccolo
it's incredible. Yeah, no, precisely.
Right,
so good. Shout out to our boy Orcs, who is really the seller of the walk.
Here, the T1 backline needs to stay safe, and same for the BLG. We'll see if Zeus can find an angle. Is sitting on the flank.
Yeah, Shun gonna get slowed down, but speed's right back up again.
Look at the flank. Look at the flank. Bin reads the play. Tries to zone Zeus away from it. The Dragon started by BLG. And here we go. Faker pushes in mid.
Yeah, the Drake down to almost 75% health. Oner gonna walk on over, and you can see BLG. They just want to get themselves the teamfighters night. Shape splits himself just to try and scout out these brushes, and Zeus, still stalwart, standing his ground, will now move out of that brush as he's spotted on that flank angle, and they're taking so much damage. There's a Glacial Prison onto Elk, but he's down to 50%, and there is no extra follow-up. They go back in. There's the Pop Blossom this time. It finds its mark as they do manage to take the Drake, but can they find the fight is the question. T1 on the board is Zeus. That health bar is very, very high, and the flash forward from Faker looks for the opportunity, but there's not many cooldowns back up and available. He's in the shroud now, and Zeus is the one that's so scary with all this damage. They get the shutdown onto Faker, but Zeus is going to be able to answer the kill onto Bin. BLG will win the fight, but crucially, T1 deny the soul.
Still the BLG! They are down so much gold, and it just doesn't matter!
I don't know how they keep finding these angles, but the combo you talked about at the start of the game, Chronicler, keep your eyes on the Wukong and the Neeko. It's Oner that initiates the fight, a really nice ultimate onto Elk, but then they see the angle. Shun goes in, the flash follow-up with the Proto Belt, connects onto 3, and then Bin with the follow-up, just nicely done. The two solo laners get onto the back line. And then it becomes this crazy brawl where Faker tries to make something happen. Bin is able to find the outplay. Absolutely crazy display of individual mechanical prowess. Shun with the Q. That was just enough range to land the final auto onto Faker. But now the Baron.
Of course.
Now
Of course.
This is how it is. T1 have started up. They have a lot of Baron damage. No vision in this pit for now as BLG will move on over. And T1 just testing. Not actually going to stick around.
It feels to me like T1, the double flank might be a little bit too much, right? Maybe have Zeus closer to the team.
Hook shot on cooldown. That means that Shun thinks this is an opportunity. Gets the second Cyclone. There's the smite as well. There's the ulti. The arrow going to connect, but it lands onto a shape splitted target and Faker. He is in the shroud, but he still takes a lot of damage from that Pop Blossom and still no full commitment from either side. A lot of cooldowns used, but not a lot of results.
The tension continues to mount. I feel like that we're past the point of testing the water, testing each other. They're just throwing everything and seeing what sticks.
Oh, Faker.
They're trying to fish him out.
That he might be there as Bin is going to discover him. Shroud is going to get him out of dodge.
Whew. All right, we're in for another banger as T1 and BLG continue to butt heads. It was a 7K gold lead. It's been brought down to what, 6.3?
Yeah, massive shift in the gold.
But you can feel the momentum shift, which is crucial because we've all played so many games of League where even though we're at a deficit, the confidence starts to mount. You realize, hang on guys, there's an angle where we can win these fights. We just need to find the right one. And while you're typing to your top laner, convincing him not to keep split pushing, you know that there is an angle, and BLG, with the backbone of Bin, know that they can find it.
I do kind of think that split push might be a good idea, though, for Zeus, because he is definitely the strongest in a side lane. And you were talking about the team fighting. BLG have just been so incredibly good.
They really have, and a large part of that as well is that I think that Faker, specifically with the AKali, the target selection is so important. It's really important to note, and T1 used this all the time when they play the Kalista support. Elk is kind of a fake target. Obviously you want to take him down, but between Cleanse, Edge of Night, and the Fate's Call most notably, it is really hard to, or really easy to see that Varus and go, hey, he's standing way too far forward. We can collapse on him. And the real question is, how do you absorb the dive that's going to come through from Knight and Shun? That said, the experience lead still there for T1. The gold lead still sizable. But that alone isn't going to be enough. T1 need to actually be able to win a team fight. And it feels like BLG just keep getting the better of them.
Well, gentlemen, this is going to be a long 60 seconds, but it's going to be an important one.
Yeah.
As BLG fight for the mid-wave control. The resets from Team 1 mean that BLG should be able to get this push. They still haven't secured that tier 1, and they're not going to change that now. But they have a way into the... I say that, no they don't. The bot lane has been pushed in. Zeus is going to choose to reset, spend what gold he can ahead of the ensuing fight. Let's see if he secures an item. No, just going to be a... Oh, he's going to get rid of the Ruby Crystal in exchange for the control wards.
And now that arrow going to be a little bit more meaningful here. As you're right, they did manage to clear out that ward, and Knight going to be able to find the snare, but onto a very tanky Sejuani. So Oner going to be okay for the moment. Does take a little bit of damage, but he will otherwise be okay. 20 seconds, gentlemen, until another opportunity for BLG for Cloud Soul.
Both engagers of T1, the ult from Sejuani and the ult from Keria, can so easily be blocked by clones, by Edge of Night.
Wait, that's the ult gone from Elk.
Yeah, there's the ult out from Oner as well, but that is a lot of damage with the Whirling Death. The arrow now going to connect. It hits the right Shun as well as Faker. He'll go golden. Zeus on the flank angle, but he's blocked by Bin. Manages to snatch him out of the air. Hextech Ultimatum has to be used so defensively, and now it's Bin that gets in amongst the fight. He'll all out his way with Gumayusi, but he's back to his team. And now they're looking for it. It's Faker that dives in the 5-point strike, and this time T1 will find the team fight they've been looking for all series and wipe the floor with BLG.
A fight on multiple fronts that T1 just dominate. BLG put up a good fight, but it was not good enough.
This series is delivering, even with a gold lead this massive. Look at these health bars. But T1 gonna push for the end here, and we're gonna go to 1-1.
I've never been tested this much at my job ever. Because there is so many micro things happening in these fights as On looking for be the opportunity. He won't find it. The juggling, even under the Nexus turrets, is working out nicely as another minion wave will taxi its way in. The Nexus will be exposed, and even though Ben just managed to respawn, there were arrows waiting for him, and there goes the Nexus. T1 turn this into a best-of-3.
A bit more of a one-sided affair, but BLG continue to show their resilience regardless of the deficit that they're in. They showed it against Gen G, they're showing it again against T1, but a much more confident performance this time around. T1 equalized the series.
And Atlus coming in today was worried about his performance, you know, when it comes to free zeros.
I've been bringing a lot of 3-0s, I have to say.
And guess what? You got what you wanted. I hope you're happy. No free zero. It's been pretty intense so far.
Yeah, pretty intense. Understatement of the tournament so far, Cronicler. Congratulations for that one. Every single fight was the very end of the capabilities of every champion in the team fights.